Have you ever struggled to get stuff done through a lack of motivation and just procrastinating over everything? In today's video, I was supposed to be talking to you about how to reduce your cost of goods to increase your profit, but I'm not feeling inspired. And to be totally honest, I'm struggling to create the type of videos that I'd like that are going to make the most impact in getting the content out of my head down into a video. I knew that the first few videos, probably 50 to 100 videos, were going to be rubbish and it was going to be a steep learning curve and to master this YouTube thing, but that doesn't make it any easier. And also, literally today, I've just pulled out of a business I was supposed to be buying that I was really excited about because basically they were just trying to inflate the sales to push the purchase price up. And that's definitely had a massive impact on my motivation, like today, but I still need to get stuff done. So I wanted to do something a bit different and do a bit more of a real life vlog style video and hopefully help you stay motivated even when life throws you curveballs, when it's hard, when you just can't be arsed and you still need to execute and get stuff done. You probably don't know me, so I'm Dan. I'm an ex-accountant who left his job to grow a business called Solace Jewelry. It was an e-commerce business selling hypoallergenic jewelry to people with metal allergies. Now, it was essentially doubling year on year, and I exited that a year ago. I've completed a 12-month earnout period, which ended in end of January, and I'm basically just trying to figure out what's next. Before selling Solace, I bought a business called Atticus Cycling. It was more of a lifestyle business, to be honest. I'm really into cycling and I wanted it to be a bit of fun. And to be honest, I think I'm still pretty exhausted after 5 years of really hard grinding to build Solace, which might be a little bit counterintuitive. I'm putting these videos out, trying to help people grow their business, scale it to multiple millions, and then I'm saying that I want to do more of a lifestyle business because I was so exhausted from it. But to be honest, I had loads of fun building it, and throughout that journey I helped quite a few people along the way who just asked me for advice, and I really enjoyed that part of it and seeing other people succeed. So that's why I wanted to lean into this, and it's also the reason I'm building a Shopify app to help e-commerce brands understand their finances and profit better without speaking to their accountant all the time and with complicated spreadsheets. As you can probably tell, I've got quite a lot going on, so it's been quite hard to keep the motivation up to do these videos, especially when you're new at something and learning and you know that they're not going to be as good as you want them to be, but also you're not really going to get many views. So it's the easiest thing, to be totally frank, to drop in a busy week. But I want to keep this going, so I wanted to talk to you about how I'm keeping the motivation up doing these, but also in the businesses that I'm running that, again, are pretty much at startup level. If you own a business, or maybe you're procrastinating about starting a business, I bet you struggle like me with overwhelm and the fear of failure. There's so many reasons for a lack of motivation because what you have to do is hard, a lack of inspiration, life gets busy, the fear of failure or rejection, like the list goes on and on. And I'm not going to profess to be an expert in this topic, but I have managed to continue to take action and execute even when I haven't felt like it. So I'm going to try and talk you through how I've done that and hopefully give you some tips on how to do the same. The first thing that I do when I'm feeling overwhelmed and not on the right trajectory is to take stock of the current situation. Like right now, I've gone from running a multi-million-pound business to essentially working on 3 startups that aren't making any money. And they're just costing me money because I'm investing in those and paying staff to develop the app and paying for marketing teams. And obviously I've also got my own living expenses. Obviously I've got investments, but it's very weird not having a regular income every single month and seeing a business growing and growing. So I think it's natural to then worry sometimes about how things are going. But before I started all of this, I essentially wrote down everything that I could do after selling Solace. I basically came to these 3 businesses, and this was going to give me the most long-term fulfillment, but also have the most chance of success. So I made financial and business plans and essentially broke those down into monthly, weekly, and daily to-dos, cut out all the things that weren't going to move the needle, outsource everything that I'm either not good at or somebody could do better, and then all I have to do is execute on my to-do list that was going to move the needle. Now, obviously, sometimes I get distracted or the fear of not having that immediate income like creeps in, hence buying another business. Although, to be fair, that was going to help the Shopify app business. But when I realized it wouldn't go through, I referred back to my financial plan and that settled that fear down, and then went back to the daily task list. What do I have to do today? What is the next thing to execute on, which was making this video. Now, I've already said that I wasn't inspired to do the video that I'd planned, So I referred back to my content pillars and picked something else that I could talk about that I felt that I could take action on, which is this video about mindset and personal development, which fit in quite nicely with how I was feeling today. But the key point is I'm executing. I've written some key points that I want to cover. I've been so focused to talking to camera and making it not look like I'm looking at a screen. But again, I'm not letting that perfect get in the way of just executing, because being consistent is what's going to make you win over the long term. But the key point is I'm executing. I've written some key points that I want to cover. It's not the perfect video. I haven't fully learned the script before executing on this video, but I'm not letting that get in the way of just getting the video done and hopefully delivering a lot of value, because I could spend all day moping about this deal not going through and the impact that's going to have on the plan that I had going forward for the business. But what good would that do me? Refer back to the task list and do the next most important thing. I guess what I'm saying is you need to have a solid plan. Get into a habit of just doing the things on the list, no matter what life throws at you. Because if you do one small thing for 365 days of the year, I guarantee that you'll be in a better place next year than if you ride the wave and roller coaster of motivation where you work really hard for a few days or weeks and then do nothing for the next few weeks. I suppose it sounds easy when you just say it like that, just to take action. But if you aren't feeling motivated, like, how do you actually take that action? And I think for me, like I said, it's just habit now. And to create that habit, I think you have to first understand what you're afraid of, what's stopping you taking action. For me, putting videos out there, it's fear that the videos won't be well received, not looking professional because they're not edited with cinematic B-roll, people not getting any value from the videos, and what people will think of me. But the list of reasons just goes on and on. Or in my businesses, if I fail, I could lose everything that I've worked towards and people would see me as a failure. But what I tell myself each time that I put a video out there is nobody cares as much about you as you do. And as long as you're doing things with the right intention and sticking to it over the long term, you have a much greater chance of success. If you're struggling with the fear of starting a business, write down all the things that could go wrong. And then next to it, write down all the things that you can do to prevent that or mitigate it as much as possible. If it's purely the fear of failure or what other people will think, honestly, just ignore it and get started and focus on continual improvement and self-development. Because even if you do fail, you will have learned so much over that time period that when you do the next thing, you're going to be able to make that more of a success. But the key is not to let that failure stump you and stop you from doing the next thing, because everybody fails. Like, I've had businesses that don't work, but it only takes one business to change your life and then impact what you can do in the future. If it's financial fear, get creative on the ways that you can mitigate that risk. So, for example, instead of buying a load of stock before launching a product brand, you could pre-sell the stock, or can you build a waiting list of people who are interested in that product so you can gauge the interest before you put all your own money into stock that may not sell? If it's a service business that you need staff for, can you find freelancers that could do the work that essentially you can build a few clients up and prove the concept? And I think that's the key word, proving the concept before you go all in on the business, so that you have a greater understanding of whether or not it's going to be a success. I think the other thing that I've noticed works for me, at least, of overcoming some fears, is going through a simple thought process. So asking yourself, is this really true? Am I really going to look like an idiot by posting this video? You might say yes, but the answer is no. Move forward and just do it. If the answer is yes, then the next question to ask yourself is, can you do anything about it? If the answer is yes, do what you can to mitigate it, but just do it and take action. If you can't do anything about it, then the next question to ask yourself is, can you live with it? If the answer is yes, then move on and do it. Because if you can't do anything about it, but you can live with it, then you need to take action. If you can't do anything about it, but you can't live with it, then don't do it, obviously. And the last thing I would say on motivation is this idea around just taking one small step. Last year I completed a high rocks, I ran a half marathon, I cycled multiple 100-mile events. And when I was in the routine of training, like, I really enjoyed it. I was feeling great and it was easy to get to the gym. But the last few months, the weather's been rubbish. I haven't really signed up to any events. Like, I'm not feeling motivated. So going to the gym feels difficult, or just getting on the bike feels difficult. But instead of thinking, I'm going to go out and do a 100-mile ride, I'm like, I'm just going to go out. I'm just going to get on my bike and go outside. And whether I do 15 miles or 50, like, I always enjoy myself. I always come back feeling better about myself. Like, just putting on my running shoes and going outside, like with no thought about how far I'm going to run or what pace I'm going to run at. All I've done is put my shoes on and gone outside. Like the small step that's just going to get you started, because then your body takes over and training, like just sitting down at your laptop and opening Word if you're trying to write something, like just take the small step that you can do and then see where it takes you. So what's the small step that you need to take today? If it's starting your business, stop worrying about what the logo is going to be like, what the name's going to be of the business. Just talk to people, talk to friends and family about the idea and get feedback. That is something that you can do without any barriers, and you can get started on it right now. If it's scaling your business, I've got a useful tool for you. 50 small steps that you can take that make changes to your business, that added together could double your profit in 90 days. And your action is to head over to the link in the description and download the cheat sheet. See you in the next video.